Hey guys, it's Mrs. Cutting back again with your third video for today. In this video, I'm going to go over the lesson 4 and 5 summary, and then you're going to pause it to do lessons 4 and 5 cool downs, and then come back to check your 4 and 5 cool downs. There's a slight chance that we already did the lesson 4 summary on Tuesday. If that happened, well, then you don't have to highlight it a second time. Okay, so lesson 4 summary, you're going to be highlighting what I have highlighted. So if you want to just pause it to highlight that and then play it again so you can listen to the explanation. When mixing colors, doubling or tripling the amount of each color will create the same shade of the mixed color. In fact, you can always multiply the amount of each color by the same number to create a different amount of the same mixed color. And if we're talking about painting something, I'm going to want to make sure that all of my paint that I'm using for green or whatever, that it's all like the exact same shade of green so it doesn't end up looking funny. For example, a batch of dark orange paint uses 4 milliliters of red paint and 2 milliliters of yellow paint. So to make 2 batches, I would multiply both numbers by 2. So I would use 4 times 2 is 8 of red paint and 2 times 2 is 4 of yellow paint. To make 3 batches, I'm going to multiply by 3, so 12 and 6. Here is a diagram that represents 1, 2, and 3 batches of this recipe. So one batch has 4 milliliters of red and 2 of yellow, and then so 2 batches would have 8 and 4, and 3 batches would have 12 and 6. And then one more part to highlight. We say that the ratios 4 to 2, 8 and 4, or 8 to 4, and 12 to 6 are equivalent because they describe the same color mixture in different numbers of batches, and they make the same shade of orange. I didn't tell you what page this is on. I am so silly. This is page 26 if you did not figure that out yet. Then we're going to flip over to the lesson 5 summary, which is on page 32. So if you want to pause this to highlight all of that, and then play it to listen to the explanation. No, you can't skip the explanation. All right, all ratios that are equivalent to A to B, and A and B can stand for any two numbers, can be made by multiplying both A and B by the same number. For example, the ratio 8 to 12 is equivalent to 9 to 6 because both 9 and 6 are multiplied by the same number, 2. So if I do 9 times 2, I get 18. 6 times 2, I get 12. So I know that these are equivalent because I'm multiplying by the same number there. 3 to 2 is also equivalent to 9 to 6 because both 9 and 6 are multiplied by the same number, 1/3. So here I'm getting to smaller ones, but because I can multiply both of those by 1/3, it is still equivalent. And then is 18 to 15 equivalent to 9 to 6? No, it is not, because if I multiply 9 times 2, I get 18, but if I multiply 6 by 2, I don't get 15. So 6 times nope apparently gives me 15. Okay, so now you're going to need your cool down packet. You are going to pause and do cool downs for lesson 4 and lesson 5, and then come back so you can check it. Oh, you're back already? Perfect. Okay. So lesson 4, we needed to write a ratio for 2 batches of this recipe. So the ratio was, the ratio of teaspoons of yellow water to teaspoons of red water is 3 to 1. So for 2 batches, I'm going to multiply both numbers by 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. So that's 6 to 2. Write a ratio for 4 batches of this recipe. So this time I'm multiplying both numbers by 4. So 3 times 4 is 12, 1 times 4 is 4. And then explain why we can say that any two of these ratios are equivalent. Because if we multiply them by the same number, we get that 6 and 2 and 12 and 4. So if you need to add to yours or fix something, please pause to do that. And then we're also going to go over the cool down for lesson 5, defining equivalent ratios. So write another ratio, not e-ratio, that is equivalent to the ratio 4 to 6. So you could have multiplied both of those numbers by anything you wanted. So you could have had 40 to 60, 400 to 600. I went simple and just multiplied by 2, so I got 8 to 12. And how do you know that your new ratio is equivalent to 4 to 6? Explain or show your reasoning. Well, I know that I can multiply 4 and 6 both by 2 to get 8 and 12. So that's how I know that they're equivalent. Okay, that's it for lesson 5. Thanks for watching. See you next time.